So, I'm not afraid to admit, I'm starting to enjoy being part of the transporter posse. However, if there's anything we've learnt from that big van over there, it's that I generally get myself into some sticky situations. So, we're gonna, this week, teach you how to make chassis mount recovery points so you can do this.
And for those of you like me who might think, maybe Alex could just drive more sensibly and not get himself into these stupid situations, I have given him a spending cap of £50. I think that's very generous.
Now, you have got three, I want to say M12 or 14, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll put it on screen. And what we're going to do is make a plate that will come round and stick down just back here, and then in the bottom of it, we'll have a shackle. We'll then do the same on the other side, which will mean you can get a triangular sort of connection, toe, to either do snatch recovery or whatever. I'm going to whip out these 3 bolts here, and then I'm going to press to find indents with cardboard to work out exactly where these holes are, and we'll transfer that over to the steel plate, and we should be able to quite quickly make these in. Now this steel plate is probably going to go all the way up here, come down like this, and then we'll cut the corner off to bring it back, and then across to this back corner where the shackle will be mounted here. Now the shackles will dangle, so from a bit of a vanity point of view, you will see the recovery points, which, you know, I quite like. Specifically because I've bought red ones as well. So essentially all this is going to be is these 2 steel plates, these 2 shackles, and because we've already got a tow bar in, you sandwich the tow bar inside. If you don't have a tow bar, you will need to make some plates to go on the inside of the chassis legs, which have some nuts welded to them, etc. Because we've already got a tow bar, because, well, we tow, that's not a problem to us. So, put one of these down. They are quite heavy, but we are going to be cutting off weight from that. So, you grab one of the steel plates, that's then going to go here, like this, and then the shackle is going to go through it and sort of hang. Now what you need to be careful of is making sure that when that pulls up, it's not pulling up into the bottom of the van. So we need to work out exactly where we can be, which actually we've got quite a lot of purchase. This will then go through with enough material that it can then swing up and you can recover out the bag. So, get these bolts out and start marking out. Perfect. So first go, there's no bowing in the cardboard or anything like that. It's flat against chassis rail. So we'll nip this corner off. And we should be good. I just want to measure this gap just to make sure if I've got it sort of straight. Because I don't really want them tilting in or anything like that. But then as long as they're the same, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm just going to grab a tape measure, quickly measure the distance between the top of the cardboard and this, and then here and here, because it should be the same with it being the floor pan. That is 6. That is 6.2. Now to be honest, that is close enough for me. I'll take that. If I just grab a knife, this cardboard has actually ended up being kind of the ideal size. So if I just clean this bottom off, so you're kind of starting to get the idea of what this will look like. If I grab the steel plate, you can see that that cardboard is actually about 1 centimetre shorter when it's up. Not even, probably. It's actually pretty damn close. So, yeah, not a bad bit of a fog star box, ironically. Yeah, that will go like that and be about the same size. So if I quickly drill a hole in here, you can get a real idea of sort of the right height of the thing, but we'll see if this cardboard's got enough in it to hold the shackle. So I'm going to go with, we want to probably be, bear in mind that's got that on it, let's go with somewhere around here. Now these shackles are from a company called Viva, or Vivor, I don't know what they're, V-O-V-O-R. And the reason I went with these is they come with these little nylon spacers, which should mean when we go to put it onto the steel, we should be able to hopefully stop it rattling around. So that's going to give us that. It might touch there and pull against it, but for the most part, you're probably going to pull back like that. That should do us just right. So you can see at the back there, we've got this little dangly bit that then gives you the recovery point at the back. So we'll do one there, one on the other side, but let's start with getting this one completely done out of metal first. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is, this plate is slightly taller than the cardboard. So I think what I'm going to do, in the interest of making the shackles have a little bit more range of motion, I'm going to move this up, and then that gives us an extra 10 mil at the bottom. Now if I grab Le Charpet, I can just go in, make my holes, and then I have 1, 2, 3 to go with. Now, something to look at with engineering stuff is actually the fact that realistically the tolerances that we actually need for this are not that tight. So in the past I would have always gone, okay, I've got a 12mm bolt, let's go with a 12.5mm hole. Now in actuality, if you go a couple of mil bigger, it makes no structural difference to this. So my honest advice would be, give yourself the tolerance, because otherwise you're going to be trying to strive for a level of perfection that you just don't need to go for, and it's going to drive you absolutely mental. So yeah, that is my take on things. Some people might disagree, some people might agree, but for this purpose, when you're dealing with this bigger bolts with these bigger washers on, it isn't going to make a difference. So I have a centre punch, so we're going to centre punch these holes, and then we've got drilling fluid to try and keep the bits cool, lots of bits, and then we've got mill bits over there to get us out to the bigger size of the shackle. I have got all 3 holes drilled in. Now this will not fit in at the minute because this corner here interferes with the corner up in there. So I need to cut that off. I've then made this come down here because, to be honest, there's no point having this whole part of the plate on it. We've curved off at the bottom, and then we'll nip that corner off as well, just round it over, make it look a bit more of a professional product. So you can see that actually, by the time we've got rid of this, you're kind of taking nearly a quarter of the plate off. So weight wise, this should drop down quite a bit. And then the professional ones have a hole cut in the middle. Now, I don't know how easily I'm going to be able to do that because I'm literally doing it with this. And I don't want it to look hack either. So we'll see how easy it is to cut this 10mm plate with this, and then we'll go from there and work out whether or not we're going to put the weight reduction in. Safety first, by the way. So, first test fit, I might need to drill that hole out 1/2 mil bigger, just because it's trying to go in at a slight angle. I've come a little bit too far this way with the hole, but that's not a problem. This one, I need to take that back edge off just ever so slightly more, because here it's pushing. So to be honest, what I might find is if I release this corner, I might not need to drill this out. So I'm going to tackle that first, because there's a bit of play on the bolts. I think I've drilled out 2 mil bigger, like I said, but you can start to see the idea of what's coming together here. now that I've cut out a bit more of this section here, that bolts straight in, and I didn't have to elongate that hole. So all three are now perfectly in. Now, I know that looks like it sticks down a lot here. However, it's no lower than the tow bar or the spare wheel carrier, which hangs down here. So the other thing you got to bear in mind is you need enough strength. So obviously at the minute, this is probably going to go in something like that. Spin that around actually so you can see it. That'll go in something like that, so that as that pulls up, it's got a bit of space to maybe angle slightly upwards. So I'm thinking that hole probably wants to be, if I go like that, like that, like that, and like that, that gives you, oh, drop the cap, that gives you a crosshairs of where I want to aim for to put that hole, because then that means that that will hang around there, giving you a little bit of up tilt, but mostly it can just come straight back or an angle or whatever it needs to do. So that should be absolutely perfect. Worst case, if it does lean against this, it's not a problem. It is just soft metal work. I'm not overly concerned about these two little sort of flangey bits here. I mean, worst case, if you wanted to, you could nip some of this out and it wouldn't have any issue to the structural rigidity. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to aim for that. That then gives us a bit of movement upwards. And to be fair, you're probably going to have a strap or a soft shackle coming through this anyway. So it's not end of the world. And these are rubber. They've got like little rubber caps on them like that. So you can sort of see these red bits do come off. So yeah, I'm going to pop this back out. I'm going to drill this hole out. And then this side, other than paint, is done. So it just comes to the second side. You've got to take the towing eye, the original one, off. That was a fight for us because ours was ruined. So yeah, got that off. Managed to save enough for the exhaust mount. So let's get another one made up. I'll come back to you once we're ready to modify it. Take this. Right, so both recovery points are on. This one you have to notch for the exhaust hanger, which I've done, which is why I made this hole. That was a nightmare into mill plate, but yeah, both recovery points now on. Let's get them off, primed and painted. now painted, sort of ready to go on. They're a bit damp still, but I want to go home. So I'm going to get these mounted up to the van, and then I think it's only right that we go and test them by basically dragging that down the road.
Now I'm pretty sure the last time we used that bad boy was when we got ourselves stuck in the Arctic.
So it might not work.
So it might not work.
But worst case, I'll just put it in reverse and drag it backwards. That's my plan.
We'll see how this goes. For dummies like me, explain what you're using.
So this is the winch remote. Now, Terra Firma has a wireless set of remotes, but they always lose connection. So this is just the old school plug-in, which, if you're doing this, leave yourself a bit more room, because this is tight. I feel like I've used this winch more recently than the Arctic.
I was thinking that, I feel like we have, but again, I don't think we have.
There we go. We should have. That took a little while to turn on.
She works.
Yeah, winch works. I was a bit worried because it didn't turn on straight away, but I'm guessing it must have to power up something inside, because there's little
Warm off her juices.
white lights inside there, which do, oh, one works. So 3 LEDs have died, but she's on. She hasn't been used in a while, that's all.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I should explain my plan. So the plan is for this, I could show you pulling it on grass, but my argument is that's not a real test, because if I pull it on grass, which is wet, we've had a lot of rain recently in the UK, there's no traction. Now I'm not worried about that being pulled, the big van pulled to the small van. I'm worried about making it a useful test. So we have dry tarmac. So my plan is I'm going to park both vans on this straight piece of road, which is in the middle of nowhere, before anyone gets a little bit antsy about this. I'm going to attach the winch to Porker with the handbrake on, and I'm going to yeet it backwards down the road with the winch.
And hopefully it stays on and doesn't ping back into the windscreen.
Hopefully I don't rip the back end of the transporter off, but let's find out. So I don't have enough straps to do it off both to create a Y, like I explained at the start of the video. So what I'm going to do is do it off one, and I hope I don't pull the back end out the van. Let's take up the slack. We've got both hooked up, and let's take up the slack. We're stood at a safe distance away. I don't have a blanket to go over the winch cable, so we're both stood at a long distance. Hopefully we don't blow out a windscreen. Slight technical difficulty. We're pulling the big van to the little van. I'm going to hop in and put my foot on the foot brake. Whoopsie! Ready? Okay, so slight technical difficulty. The handbrake on that is not good enough to lock the wheels. So I'm going to see if I can pull it on a little bit harder. Right, I've managed to get another 2 clicks by leaning on it like the hand of God. Okay, so I can't lock the wheels on that because the handbrake's not good enough, but I'd say that's a success.
Great success!
Bearing in mind, if I let off the foot brake on this van, which is loaded and actually has full tanks of water and fuel, it does this. And the handbrake on this will do handbrake turns, just to give you an idea. And it's still just pulling it in effortlessly. And that's off one. So, I think what we'll do is we'll get this completely disconnected, we'll pull it over to the side of the road, and we'll show you what it looks like. That's sick! I love that that works. What I love as well is the fact that that was one, and it just dragged the entire thing backwards, like it was nothing.
Once the handbrake was on, but yeah.
Once the handbrake, Jess couldn't actually get the handbrake back off to move them off the road. Over there. But yeah, I think that proves that it works. I mean, at the end of the day, it is massive 10mm steel plate with two 12-ton shackles, with massive M12 bolts going into the chassis in 3 different places, sandwiching the tow bar through the chassis rail. So there's a hell of a lot of rigidity in that back end. And at the end of the day, I think we've just proved between these two. Look at Normie in the background.
Look at his smile.
I love it when things work. It's great. Especially when it's like beef stuff as well. Like, it's just so much fun. But yeah, ultimately, the design is very similar to a company called Terra Ranger. After further inspection, you can't actually get those in England. They don't ship to the UK. So, I don't actually know anywhere that makes them in the UK either.
Can you reveal to me what your final expenditure was, please?
Well, it's more than £50.
How much more than £50?
I mean, who's to say, really? What's a few quid between friends? No, I think the shackles were £15 from a company called Viva, I think I said in the video. I'll put the links for those down below. And then I got the steel from a company called Metals for You. No affiliation, they basically cut to size, delivered to door. So I bought two 10mm plates that I think were 250mm by, I want to say 180mm.
Which cost how much?
Which I think cost around £52. So in total...
That puts you over budget, boy. I'm
over budget, but I'm not disappointed.
Total is, for people who can't do maths like me.
I don't know, I've forgotten what the numbers were. Under 70 quid, I think. But bear in mind that the Terra Ranger ones from Europe set you back, I think, if you don't want the sandwich plates, €240. If you have a tow bar already, like we sandwiched to the tow bar. If you don't have it, I think they're nearly 300 and something euros, something like that. So after conversion, they're what, 250 with the plates, slightly less without. But yeah, hugely cheaper. This is what I love about making stuff yourself, right? So between these two vans, the only actual bought product that is kind of fabrication-y based, or actually there's two. One is the lift kit for this, because I didn't know how to weld at the time. So there's a 50mm lift spacer in there, and the winch bumper, because again, didn't know how to weld at the time and didn't want it failing in the Arctic. So between these two vans, I have saved probably over £10,000 in making stuff myself.
You haven't saved it because I wouldn't have let you spend that.
Yeah, we'll just chalk this up to girl math. But you know what I mean? I feel like these days there is a huge van tax on stuff. I mean, you look at the Sprinter kit, right? The amount of money that it costs to buy stuff like a winch bumper or a ladder or lift kits or roof cracks are just obscene, right? There is pure van tax. If you just have a go, you learn a new skill, you get new tools, and you still come out way below the cost of what the bought product does. Now, as long as you take your time, I mean, I've never built a roof rack like this before. This was my first ever attempt. Is it perfect? No. But it's strong as hell. It doesn't weigh that much. I can lift the entire roof rack on my own on this. There's a video that we made on that. Go check that out on the channel. And it was based off a roof rack that was £1,500. That cost me £156. The roof rack on that is pieced together from Unistrut, made my own fixings to the roof, and this bit here is fascia off a house. Like, there's a point, I don't want it to look ratchet, and would I do that again? No. Not now I could do that. But that's what experience comes with. But my point is, the magnets. There's a company that makes magnets for the side of the van. They're north of £200. I could be wrong. If I am, I'll put it below. We figured out the kit. Puh, wasp. We figured out the kit. I think I spent less than £40 on magnets for the side of that van. And they've been on there for the last, well, over 15,000 miles before the Arctic. The same with the box carrier on that. The same with, you've not seen it yet, but we're making a bike rack carrier that's going to replace this wonky bit of crap that's ruining the back of the van. Have a go at doing things yourselves. It's A, massively rewarding, B, it saves you money, and C, you get to say I made it. It's a lot of fun. But I think we can all agree that these recovery points are a great success.
Great success.
But yeah, you can see them down under here. So you've got one this side, you've got one this side, and you've got massive 10mm steel plates sticking out down each side. And yeah, I think they also look quite cool when they're just sort of chilling behind the van.
Comment down below if you agree with me and that they're like little nipple rings underneath.
Well, Fruity, Mr. Mispronounced Adventures, actually messaged me when I put the Instagram story up of this, saying it's like the van's got cute little bollocks now. So, thanks Alex for that. But I do think they look pretty cool, just hanging under there. Obviously, if you've got a colour scheme with your van, just buy shackles that match the van. I went with red. We don't really have anything red, but we also don't have really much colour.
I like the red.
So, yeah, I guess it ties in with that. But it looks so cool when you're following it. I'm over the moon with these. We need to go test it out now properly. I've already arranged potentially a little greening exercise with Tom.
We'll leave that for another video.
He's got a Land Rover, just for clarity. So, anywhere I screw up, he can now pull me out.
Sorry, Tom.
But that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. I'm not entirely sure what's coming next week, but yeah, we'll see you then. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.